The National Household Travel Survey in South Africa says South Africans take 45 million trips, mostly by foot. That's according to Statistics South Africa, which has released its travel survey. The survey assesses transport needs and behaviour, attitudes towards the transport services, and how South Africans get to their workplaces, educational institutions and other places. It revealed that the main purpose of travel for most households was getting to education institutions. For more on this, we're now joined by the CEO of Ubunye Capital, Vuyisile Majola. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Hugo. Good evening to your viewers.
Take us a little bit into some of the insights that we've just talked about in that intro.
So the household travel survey is quite telling of the state of our public transport, first of all. And then secondly, it paints a picture of the socio-economic conditions that the country finds itself in. So I think more than just figures about where people go, how they go there, I think those are just the deeper insights that it has given us. Yeah.
Now, comparative to other African countries, where do we stand?
Because of our extensive road network and our sophisticated public transit compared to other African countries, I think South Africa is doing fairly well. If you're looking at the Sub-Saharan Africa statistic, 75% of commute happens by walking. And if you're looking at the South African numbers relative to that, we are quite far ahead. Also, if you're looking at the different modes of transport that are found in the other African countries, such as automated rickshaws and motor bikes, in South Africa we are seeing a more streamlined type of public transport here.
So when we talk about services like Uber, Bolt, etc., do they contribute to these statistics? Have they contributed over the last couple of years?
I think with this household travel survey, they didn't really go deep into those modes of transportation, but the focus really is on public transportation or mass paratransit, which would be buses, trains, as well as taxis in South Africa.
So where do we stand? Where is our public transport system?
To put it mildly, I think our public transport is failing dismally. If you are looking at the numbers, in 2013, rail moved 9.9% of public transport commuters. With this statistic, it's down to 3%. And we know what we can attribute that to. The same as bus transport services. That has gone down from 20% to about 12%. And we see that the minibus taxi industry has actually decreased from 69% to about 66%. And again, we can't just look at these statistics in isolation. We need to understand the socio-economic climate in the country. What does that mean? Are more people traveling? Are people going to work? Have people lost their jobs? Is it becoming more and more expensive to use public transport?
Now, one of the things that we picked up is that the primary purpose of undertaking a trip by household members was traveling to educational institutions.
Yes.
What do we read into this?
I think this is it tells us that the conversation is bigger. The Department of Education needs to get involved. It's not just a Department of Transport problem. The Department of Social Development needs to get involved. If you are looking at the fact that according to these statistics, 88% of households spent over 200 Rand on learner transport per month. And then you're looking at just that cost alone. And then you couple that with the fact that 44% of household income comes from salaries and wages, and 34% comes from social grants. Where's the money to pay for those learners to commute to education centers or centers of learning? The conversation needs to be bigger. What can be done so that learners have efficient transport to their places of learning?
Ria, I'd like to think that COVID's a huge factor
Yes.
in these statistics.
Yes.
How do these statistics compare to previous years?
I think if you are looking at COVID-19 a year later, these statistics, I would like to think, exclude what we saw during COVID-19, because remember, public transportation decreased significantly. It was only limited to essential service workers. So those numbers, you cannot even start looking at them and comparing them to the current statistics. We are hoping that we are going to see the actual numbers or the actual impact of COVID on public transportation in South Africa.
Now we talk about learners, and the average learner walks 29 minutes.
Yes. Yes.
Just how much do you concentrate if you're walking 29 minutes? Obviously, it's quite an issue.
Yeah. There's issues of safety. There's pedestrian safety issues. They are walking on the same roads that the taxis are driving in, that the buses are driving in. There's already congestion and traffic on these small and narrow roads, specifically in our townships. So I think that is why I think the conversation needs to be extended to other departments and not just limited to the Department of Transport.
I'd like you to take you back a little bit to the trains. Obviously,
yes.
Trains are potentially the most inexpensive means of transport, but potentially also the biggest transporter of individuals.
Yes. Trains are supposed to be the backbone of any paratransit or mass public transportation system. And in South Africa, what we have seen is that we've seen the minibus taxi industry actually take over and become the backbone. We have seen that because there is no integration between the different modes of transport, trains actually started competing with the minibus. They started competing with the buses. If you are looking at the numbers and the decrease of the commuters who are going to train, where are they going? They're going to the taxi because of the amount of time it takes them to get to work if they are using a train, because of safety issues that they are met with in the trains. And also just generally because the rail industry in South Africa has suffered quite a bit, has taken quite a bit of a knock. So all of those sentiments have actually moved the commuters to other modes of transport. And we're hoping that there is some way that we can resuscitate rail to become the backbone and have smaller public transport modes become feeder systems to rail.
Well, in our previous story, we did talk about the appointment of the new group CEO for PROSA, and certainly that, if anything, should pave way to the resurgence of the train service.
We certainly are hoping so, and I hope that they're also going to come up with innovative ways of integrating rail to the existing modes of transport. What conversation can PRASA have with the taxi industry to say that to the taxi industry, we don't want to compete with you, but we want to become part of integrated transport networks that make sure that commuters are moved efficiently. So I think resuscitating PRASA is going to mean that they're going to need to be more innovative and integrate with other modes of transport. Yeah.
That was CEO of Ubunye Capital, Vuyisile Majola. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Do stay with us. We'll be right back after this.